Immediately after the ordinance passed, both Uber and Lyft said they would stop operating in Minneapolis on May 1st, the day the increases take effect. Are you really going to leave on May 1st if this doesn't change?
Yes.
Y'all see what they did to Lyft? Let's talk about it. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, see, this is why socialism don't work. This is why the policies of these crazy, liberal, leftist, lunatic cities are literally destroying businesses. These people are mocking capitalism, and it's killing the community. Look at this. In Minneapolis, they want to make a minimum wage. They want to make Lyft and Uber pay their drivers minimum wage. When the business structure of Lyft and Uber is almost on a commission base, which means that the more rides you do, the more money you make. And then people can give you tips and all of the above. You can't sit there and say, you got to get paid at least this amount of money. And then some people ain't doing nothing and others are doing a lot. And so they're trying to enforce this by adding all these extra charges and per mile and doing all this stuff to get the drivers to $15 an hour. And they're just going to remove the rideshare from an entire city. And the people in charge are stumbling down on it, and it's insane to me. You know how many tourists go through Minneapolis and they ain't got no way to get from the airport because Uber and Lyft have just destroyed all these other industries. Man, ain't nobody finna get in a taxi cab. Man, I would never get in a taxi cab. There ain't no GPS in a taxi cab. Nobody's tracking it. You jump in the car, homeboy, take you somewhere, take all your money. You don't even know where you're going. They just drive somewhere. Now, maybe taxi cabs have caught up to the Joneses. I haven't been in one since Uber and Lyft came out. But, man, I don't think it's as safe. There's no database and stuff that you can log into and all this record, and none of that exists. And you want people to just jump into these cars and randomly go somewhere. People aren't taking care of these cabs. It's not like they got nice ones. I mean, listen to these idiots. Let me play the news clip. Roll the clip.
The latest frontline in the battle over fair pay for rideshare drivers is in Minneapolis. Uber and Lyft have threatened to leave the city over a new ordinance that sets minimum wages for drivers. As special correspondent Fred DeSam Lazaro reports, it's leading to bigger questions about the state of the gig economy.
Lifelong Minneapolis resident Matthew McGlory started driving for Uber and Lyft over 7 years ago. He loves the flexibility, the chance to meet new people, and for a while he felt like drivers and the companies were true partners. But in the past few years, McGlory says, drivers have seen a smaller cut of fares.
Is it fair that Lyft or Uber will charge a passenger $67 and give the driver $23? We're not asking for anything more than we think we deserve or anything more than we think is fair.
That's why McGlory...
I can capitulate to or at least agree with him. You have the right to ask. If a person worked for me and they believe that they're not getting paid what they deserve, they can come and ask me. But hey, you better make sure that you're worth what you're asking me for, and that I cannot just replace you with somebody else that's better than you. All right, roll the clip.
Where he supported a recent Minneapolis City Council ordinance that sets minimum pay for rideshare drivers. It requires the companies to pay drivers at least $1.40 per mile and 51 cents per minute during rides.
This fight is really simple. It's about giving...
It's always dumb black people, dumb black liberals that they're ruining entire cities to virtue signal. And the white ones are crazy too. But I'm saddened to see people do this that have come from beginnings that black people have come from in this country, to just be so ignorant to the legacy of our ancestors and how black people have come from slavery to being the most prosperous black people in the world through capitalism. And they just ruining stuff. They just dumb, out of touch reality, just ruining their states and countries and cities and wherever they at, they ruining them.
Workers a minimum wage.
These are static facts.
Council member Robin Wansley.
And she fat. Go figure. She probably believe in body positivity and all this other stupid stuff.
He helped write the policy.
We hold the standard that workers should earn livable wages. We should not make exemptions for rideshare drivers because they're part of the gig economy. This is the time to reevaluate our dependence on two corporate giants that have based their entire economic model on paying their drivers sub-minimum wages.
Immediately after the ordinance passed, both Uber and Lyft said they would stop operating in Minneapolis on May 1st, the day the increases take effect. Uber spokesman Josh Gold.
What we saw in other markets is if you raise rates too high, you may be making more for each individual trip. Because demand's going to go down, you'll actually be making less on an hourly basis.
Are you really going to leave on May 1st if this doesn't change?
Yes.
Gold pointed to the company's decision to leave Austin,
Yes.
Texas in 2016 after that city passed a driver fingerprinting requirement. It only returned when the state passed a law preempting the city. But Uber and Lyft have backed down from threats to leave elsewhere.
I really hope we can continue to work with drivers and policymakers in Minneapolis to continue to stay. But if it doesn't make sense to operate a business, we won't operate a business.
Exactly. It doesn't take rocket science. I think that's the whole video. If it's not operational, we're just gonna leave. Like, you can't bully capitalist businesses into just doing what you want them to do. It is wishful thinking. You guys are not being honest. If you say, Brandon Tatum, think about this for a minute, y'all. Think about this. None of my people get paid nowhere near minimum wage. Everybody's getting paid way more than minimum wage that work for me. I just don't, personally, I'd rather take a pay cut and pay more people money than to be lingering people that's leaving and they can't provide for their family. The turnover rate is crazy here. I'd rather not do that as a business because I do care about people as well. But if you said, Brandon, you got to pay everybody that work for you at least $25 an hour. And I'm talking about the people that work in the warehouse, $25 an hour. If you mandate it, I may not let them go. But you know what's going to happen? These T-shirts you see, I'm going to raise the price on the T-shirts. I'm going to raise the price on shipping. I'm not going to go bankrupt because the government want me to do XYZ. We have an operating budget. That's why we price the things that we price. That's why we pay people what we pay them, because we have to structure an operational budget long term. You can't say, I'm just going to pay everybody whatever you want to make $30, $40 an hour. Let's do that. I'll be out of business in 3 months. We have to make a projection. We have to make a run-through rate. All of those things go into business. So we say, okay, this is what we can afford to pay you. Who wants to work for that? And it's a livable wage. Who wants to work for this? If you can't, I'll find somebody else. And if the government forced me to do something, I'm just going to either eliminate that position, eliminate that department, or I'm got to raise the prices in other areas, compensate for the income that we're going to lose. And it's not so I can go buy a jet and all this other stuff. It's because operational costs come with the cost. And big major conglomerate companies like Uber and Lyft, they're not losing anything by not operating in Minneapolis. They still make tons of money other places. They're not losing anything. And all they have done with saying you need to pay a person this or else. Now the person has no income. Now they have nothing. You can forget about getting paid a livable wage. Zero ain't a livable wage. You got to pay them. Listen, you got to pay entry-level workers $25 an hour. Okay, I'm firing all of them, and I'll pay $30 an hour to one person instead of paying $12 an hour to 5 people. I'm just gonna pay one person $30 an hour, and I'm gonna let them do all the jobs that y'all had them other people doing. I'll just go get somebody far more qualified, and they make more money, and they work, and I'll start eliminating these positions. You're not gonna force me to do this, or the customer that come in is gonna pay it. This is why there's no such thing as paying. This is why there's no such thing as raising taxes and making the wealthy pay their fair share. It doesn't exist, because what you do is, especially if you do it to me as a business owner, you go, Brandon, your tax goes from 25% corporate tax to 35%. That's a 10% increase in taxes. So what do? I just raise the price. I just eliminate positions. I think like, for instance, all the people at my staff, they get all the snacks they want. They get all of the juices and energy drinks, and everything they want is completely covered by the company. If you start doing stuff like that, I'm gonna have to eliminate those valuable things in our company. You're not gonna bankrupt me. You're just gonna make me start doing other things that's gonna negatively affect the people that work here, and it's gonna negatively affect other aspects of business and other people who are not seeing a pay increase, not getting their taxes cut, are going to pay more for stuff than they used to. Now, a smaller business like me, I can get away with a few things. You talk about Walmart and stuff, they're not going to do that. They can shut down 2 or 3 stores and be good. They can shut down entire stores and they can not operate in an entire city and be fine. They can just focus their efforts on other cities. But you know who can't afford to do that? People that are working entry-level jobs will have no jobs. That's like when old dumb AOC decided to, convince Amazon that they shouldn't operate in New York. Woman, they were finna bring like 15,000 jobs or something, average $80,000 salaries and stuff. I mean, and you say, no, you don't operate here, and now people don't have no opportunities. It's just crazy to me, man. I honestly believe that something is better than nothing. Minimum wage is a because all you do if you don't want to pay people minimum wage, you just contract the person. If you don't want to pay a minimum wage, you just pay them. What you do is you make them part time. They get paid, but they work part time. If you don't want to pay people these certain positions, you start letting other people do it, money under the table. That's what companies do. Why would I get a cleaning crew? I can just get people to clean and pay them under the table. Why would I can get a person to come. Now, I don't do it because I don't want to get in trouble with the Lord, and I don't want to get in trouble with mankind. But like if I really was struggling and I really need to, and I can't afford something, I just go pay somebody under the table to go in here and print some stuff on my screen print. Therefore, the person that want me to pay them $25 an hour, well, we may pay our screen printer more than that. But the person that wants us to pay $25 an hour or something, I just pay somebody $12 an hour. They come in here and work 24 hours a day. Can't speak no English, but they working. Y'all really want that life? Okay, that's what I thought. I'll see you on the next one.